Now is Republican Senator Pat Roberts from the state of Kansas. Senator Roberts, the chairman of the Senate Agriculture Committee. And when you put yesterday together with today, a lot of people would argue this has been a big week for American farmers, China and USMCA combined. Talk to me about the latter, if you will, passing today, USMCA. The president says it's much better than what we had, that being NAFTA. I assume you agree, and if so, why is that the case? The biggest reason?
Well, this has been just a great week for agriculture. I think your previous guest said something about confetti. I don't know how much confetti we have left in farm country, but boy, are they excited. Every producer group, every farm organization, all regions of the country, we've come through 4 or 5 years. I don't think too many people realize what a rough patch we've had in farm country. We hope for price recovery. We hope for getting back to our markets. Two big things right in a row. One, the bipartisan vote, which is a rather paradox of enormous irony, right before we go to impeachment.
Yes.
But at any rate, it was a big vote, 89-10, and it was a bipartisan vote. Then on top of that, we have the China deal, which could be $50 billion of purchases from U.S. agriculture products and other products as well.
Any concern that, especially on that front, we're too ambitious, that it'll be too difficult to meet those numbers? Or
that may be the case. It's a step one. Step two. Step one's about 36 billion, and then step two, if things keep going right, well, I think we'll see the rest of the purchases. Quite frankly, China needs what we produce. They're in a tough way in several areas of their agriculture.
You mentioned it, Senator. It was quite a day when you consider that you guys were passing this USMCA, the new trade deal with Canada and Mexico, just before you were sworn in as a juror in an impeachment trial that'll begin on Tuesday. I'll just ask you briefly about that. As Blake reported a moment ago, some new information today in that GAO report. You combine that with the Lev Parnas comments over the last few days. Does that new information, in your mind, as a juror in the case, warrant witnesses being called?
Well, I think we're going to consider witnesses anyway, regardless of what the GAO says. Don't let me get into a conversation about my experiences with the GAO. But and as well as the other accusations, I have not read the GAO report.
Okay.
And I have really not paid too much attention to the individual that's been.
But on the witnesses?
But on the witnesses, I think there will be an attempt to put that aside until a later date, and then we'll be taking up witnesses.
But you're open to it?
Oh, sure.
Right. What is your mindset going into this trial as a juror? I mean, do you think the outcome is a foregone conclusion? How do you look at it?
I don't know if anything's a foregone conclusion in something like this. We didn't even know that with President Clinton, or for that matter, Nixon. I've been around a while. So you just don't want to get into trying to predict what's going to happen in something like this. But I think most members, if not all of us, are really looking at this at a very sober attitude. This not only is a current event that affects the presidency and what we're doing here and what we may do on down the road with other legislation, but it sets some precedents. And they're not very good, not only for this president, but for future presidents. Now, that's what I think. I don't know exactly what will happen down the road, but as a juror, I'm going to take a look at all of it.
Okay, Senator, we thank you for covering so much ground, big economic developments, as well as the impeachment trial beginning next week. Senator Roberts, thank you. Melissa.